Brought to you by Repurposing TV, streaming from Tempe, Arizona. And we're live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This is Real Estate Pros on Lister Pros TV, and today we have Steve Valentine in the studio of Realty Executives Professional Standards. So I want to give you a plug. He dropped off some swag here. I got to give a shout out, man. This is a very nice looking logo, so I like your marketing.
Thanks, man.
Nice job there. But today we're going to be talking with him about overcoming obstacles and recreating yourself in this industry. So we'll give you a few minutes to kind of introduce yourself. People that don't know who you are, you know, how long you've been in the business, and et cetera, et cetera.
Cool. Well, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man.
Been in the business almost 20 years now. I'm a third-generation realtor, real estate professional. Grandmother was one of the very first women real estate brokers in Illinois. My dad was icon in this business here in Phoenix. Back in 2005, we were ranked number 2 internationally, Realty Executives as a team. And then, of course, the market did great. 2006, you fast forward, you talk about overcoming obstacles. In that 2006 market, what happened, we got so involved in the construction part of things that we kind of took our eye off the ball, real estate-wise. Real estate was doing a great job of holding up everything, but 2006, we had 75 employees and 22 fleet vehicles, and that was it. It tanked.
So were you guys a construction company at that point, or building?
Yeah, we both. So we weren't building, but we were maintaining the properties, painting, plumbing. We went through all that stuff.
Sure.
Was not the smartest play, but it was one of the greatest learning experiences at age 25 to be handed all this stuff, and then you got to figure it out. So 2006, unfortunately, family had falling out. There was so much loss and so much heartache that I had 2 infants at the time, and nothing was going right. So my dad and I agreed to part our ways. It wasn't the most admirable thing at the time, but I had to do what I had to do for my wife and kids. We walked in 2006 with $1 million in debt. $1 million in loss in cash and assets, 2 infants, and a foreclosure. There was no partridge in a pear tree, nothing. So this was November 2006. So fast forward the next year, didn't know what I was going to do. It was the first time I had been on my own. So I'm taking short sales, have no idea what to do with them, and so now it's how do you recreate from your parents' shadow what you're going to do next. And that was one of the hardest things to try to figure out because it was such a tough time in the market. So my wife even went back to waiting tables for a little while, which was awful. You feel like just a miserable failure. So then you fast forward. I was given an amazing opportunity by Realty Executives when we were with corporate to start heading up and doing their Fannie Mae and their Freddie Mac REOs. It was my one shot. It was my one shot to do over. I was given that in September 11, 2008. I always remember the date. Fast forward November that year, I broke my neck.
Oh my God.
Doing an obstacle course. So
3 months later?
3 months later.
Goodness.
Scared to death because I didn't want the opportunity to take away. So
not
here
a
I
tough
sit.
mutter, was it? No.
It was. It was a tough mutter.
Oh my
There was an
gosh.
obstacle course at the end that I literally dove into the mud pit and something was sticking out of the ground and it crushed C5, C6. Scary. Again, we have no money. We've just been given an opportunity, and now you're like, I can't tell anybody about this, so here I am with a halo strapped into a hospital bed doing BPOs because I refused to tell anybody. And so a couple of months later, people eventually found out, but some of my asset managers from Fannie Mae, they finally found out and couldn't believe that I didn't say anything about it.
Hey, let's FaceTime you, Steve. Let's make sure you're... No.
Yeah. So you just had to do. So for a while, I couldn't drive for almost 2 months. Because I had no motion in my neck. So my wife would drive me around to look at properties, and we gradually figured it out. So, fast forward through all of it, that was an opportunity that we took, and I would do it 24 hours a day because it's your one shot. And so we were able to just do a significant amount. So going forward, 2012, that market started to die down a little bit. The REOs did. 2012, we had paid off $1 million worth of debt. Everybody got paid back. IRS was made whole. Everything got done. We were able to buy a house again in 2012. So it took us 5 years, just nose to the grindstone. This is what we're going to do. We're going to make it right with everybody.
So no, you didn't file bankruptcy
Nope.
after $1 million
No,
down?
there was no bankruptcy.
Goodness.
We went through and just, I mean, we even had the second mortgage from our house come after us for $140. We settled with them, but again, it was more about, hey, I want to go back and make this right. I know what I can do. And you look back and go, well, if I had done that, what could I have done? What kind of houses could I have bought back in that time? But it was all about the character and integrity of, sleeping at night.
Sure.
So, then we go forward to now, one more hurdle I have to overcome as we're trying to reinvent ourselves and try to figure out, you go from the REO days, that's your, that's what you're doing. That's the space you're in. And then you get done with that and you try to figure out, well, okay, so are we going to do, for sale by owners? Are we going to do expireds? Are we going to, what's our next niche going to be? 2014, December 17th, my dad's diagnosed with terminal cancer, terminal brain cancer. My dad had his own brokerage. They were managing about 500 homes. My dad had reinvented himself with the investor community. He was huge with ASREA, the Arizona Association of Investors.
Yeah.
And then my mom was running the property management company. My dad had overseen a $20 million fund for a Canadian investor. So he had bought a bunch of homes for the guy, did really well for him. And I didn't know what was going to happen. So for the next 9 months, I spent half my time in my dad's business and half the time in my own business. It was eye-opening to see what my dad had created, because my dad was so creative when it came down to it. He was, the guy that lived through 18% interest days and never went and got a part-time job. He just figured out how to make it happen, all right, raising 5 kids. So that 9 months was a healing process for me from when we split our partnership, because now I have to come back and break it down. And what I had to do was figure out how to break my dad's business down on the sales side and the investor side in order to leave a standalone property management company that my mom can maintain and handle on her own. So that 9 months was eye-opening. I mean, my dad had some cool stuff going on. I'm like, I think I can tweak this just a little bit. I think I can. So we started down that road of tweaking what he was doing and made it our own, and then it eventually kind of became our niche. So 2015, my wife has been a real estate agent for all of our married life, and she liked the design aspect. So my dad was doing a lot of flips at the time. So we started with some partners. And 2015, we probably, and we don't like calling it flipping, we call it repurposing. I think flipping's a little negative on some cases. So 2015, we renovated about 45 homes that year and resold them. It was a great thing. My wife loved it. We had partners that brought in the money and buy the houses, and so it worked really, really well. And then fast forward 2016, we acquired 150 homes last year that we bought personally, and either we kept as rentals or we repurposed and went back out to market. And so we love delivering that quality product when it comes down to it, and the opportunity, because there's a lack of it in the market right now.
Right.
So fast forward to now, we're sitting here. We have rebranded from the standpoint that I believe everybody's situation in this industry is different. I don't care if you're a real estate agent, you're a home buyer, home seller, investor. So we went to our logo. It says handcrafted, because I believe that every family and every situation is different, and kind of like a craft brew, we want to take that situation and craft it and mold it to what meets their needs and what provides that ultimate solution for them. So that's really where we've gone. We're a handcrafted real estate solution company now.
Awesome. So, man, I love the branding. I love the handcrafted mantra. And so it sounds like you're, I guess, more of your specialty, but you kind of dabble in a lot of things real estate related. You talked about property management. You do some resale from referral base, but you do a lot of investing in the real estate in the real estate industry. So talk about how to create long-term wealth with real estate investing. Obviously, you're very experienced in that, and you have clients that
It's really a passion, because what I believe is that anybody can be a real estate investor if the strategies are perfected. You'll find that probably 90% of our industry don't invest in real estate. They don't invest in the one thing that they have knowledge about. And over the years, between what I learned in the downfall when we lost everything, what we learned in watching my dad's business, and coupled with the data from the property management company that my mom owns, I can now sit down with somebody. I don't care if you're a first-time home buyer or you're an experienced investor. We can strategize how to invest and how to build your long-term wealth. And the questions come into play is, are you looking for short-term income or are you looking for long-term wealth building? Because there's a huge difference.
Right.
So if you're looking for long-term wealth building, like what we're doing right now, or what I teach our first-time home buyers, is real estate. Let me go back. The best story I have is that real estate will heal itself if you're never really looking or buying because of its value. So if you go through, and I did this on Facebook a couple weeks ago, I actually stood in front of the very first home I bought.
Oh, yeah?
And I said, look, 20 years ago I bought this house, and I paid $107 for it. Interest rates were 8% then. My parents were in real estate. They were like, you got to do this right now. So we bought it. Shea Home, 69th and Bell. Fast forward, market started to creep up. I'm 23. The house was worth almost double what I paid for it. So I won the lottery pretty much. I sold it to an investor cash, took the money. I don't even know what happened to the money, to be honest with you.
You were 23.
Yeah, I was 23. So, the problem is I look back now, and had I kept the house, the mortgage would have been 20 years paid off, 10 years from being paid off. And the house, even though it dipped back to 125, 140 in the heat of things, it still would have rented for that $1,000 to $1,100 a month, and covering the mortgage, it wouldn't have made me anything. But now fast forward, the house is worth $250 today.
Right.
Okay. Now, could it dip again? Maybe. Do I care? No, because it's going to create long-term wealth. It only matters when I sell it, not while it's being rented. The only thing I want to do is provide a home for a family that's going to be a decent place to live, and they're going to pay down that mortgage, and they're depositing into my 401k at the end of the day.
Right.
And most people, they can't get their hands around, what does that look like, and how do I afford that? So what we try to do is we had just had a couple in our office on Sunday, and I love this because he's a teacher, she's a nanny, not a ton of income. There's certainly not a huge retirement plan in place, okay? They can't outsave themselves for retirement. So something's got to give. Something's got to be strategized. So I asked them, I said, I know you came in to buy your first home, but can we just talk a little bit about what it is if you looked at the end in mind? What if you fast forwarded 30 years from now? So let me paint the picture, and we're going to start at the end and work our way backwards. What if, before you have kids, you took the ability to have a zero down program, buy a house at a 10% discount, and understand that that box that you're going to live in for the next 12 months is your 29 from years now retirement, and somebody else is going to pay that off. Now, if you can stomach whether it's 1 or 4, and we can go through that process, what does that do in changing their life? What does it do in changing their family down the road? And that's where I get really passionate about. Some people think I'm crazy. That's fine. I'm okay with that. But at least they're given the opportunity, and they can at least think about it. They may not do it with the first house, but what if first-time home buyers took the emotion out of it? Said, look, we're gonna get you in somewhere decent, somewhere where it's gonna be good to live, but don't spend a bunch of money on it. Just think you're gonna rent from you for the next 12 months, and then somebody else is gonna rent it. So, and again, never looking at what the price is, but at the price you're buying it at, is it always going to be able to be rented out for close to that? And again, we try to get people to say, hey, let's make sure you have some reserves. Stuff's going to happen. Some people become accidental landlords, and here's what happens. They think the tenants are going to cover all the costs in the house.
Right.
The tenants are going to cover 90% of it. You're still going to have to change the oil, put some tires on it, and maintain the asset. But somebody's still paying you to live there.
Right.
So those are the strategies that I get really passionate about, helping people and going, this is what we can do. And some people, again, they look at me with 12 heads. Some people get it. my wealth building partner, Paige, it's so cool. So our acquisition manager, she's 25. She's been working with me for a year. We take her out. We find something off market at 80 cents on the dollar. She gets to go in and design it with my wife, do the renovation. So it's tenant proof for the next 20 years. We put the money into it. And she's going to go live in it. But she bought it as her first rental property, not as her first home. So now her goal is, hey, I want 5 more of these. So she's there for 12 months, and then we'll refinance and go into the next deal, renovate it, and keep rolling it over, which creates long-term wealth.
Sure. So that's an interesting point. Whenever you're talking about the long-term strategy, because we saw that dip in 07, 08 or whatever, but that is interesting. I never really looked at the trend of rents, because if this holds steady, to be honest, rents did not fall in that period of time to the extent of the values that fell in the property. So if you're looking from a long-term perspective, retirement money, that monthly income from the rent, would be a good investment. Obviously, a lot of people got out of the business at that point in time when they could have kept in. Actually, in that point in time, the stock market crashed too, and I think a lot of people got all emotional about it, just like the real estate industry pulled their money out, and then there's a big roar coming back, and then if they would have just kept that in there, they would have been fine.
Well, the issue back then was so many people bought with the neg-am loans, those types of things. So there was no way. I mean, some of those neg-am loans right now, your $200,000 house would have had a $400,000 balance on it now.
Oh, jeez.
That's why a lot of those people bailed, because they were banking on appreciation rather than banking on the rent.
So let's talk a little bit about where you find these acquisition properties. So if you're looking for a property for, you call it repurposing or flip. Some people. What are some good avenues to find these properties?
So there's a number of ways to do it, and it's a strategy built around talking to people and giving them a solution. Again, you heard me say handcrafted. Not everybody is concerned about the bottom dollar or the top dollar for their house. Some of them are more concerned about, can this be done conveniently? This is where a lot of people have gone with the tech companies, and it's a convenient way out. The difference between what we do and what the tech companies are doing right now, or even the wholesalers, for those of you that don't know, a wholesaler is somebody that ties up a property at a price and they sell that contract for a fee. It's not typically what we do with our homes. We actually acquire these homes and hold them. So we talk to a lot of investors. There's a lot of investors that back in 2008, 2009, they bought homes for 40, 50 grand. They've been rented, and they're done. They're good. They're good leaving a little bit of money on the table, knowing that they can sell the house and be out. Hey, I'm good. You guys take it on. You take on the tenant. You take on all the stuff that goes with it, and we're good. So we talk to a lot of investors that currently own investment properties. We talk to a lot of people that I got a referral from one of our lender partners, Todd Bookspan, the other day. Good friends of his. They're moving to Tucson. They have a sick parent. They have 4 dogs. Money wasn't the object. It was, can you make this emotionally and convenient for us to go buy without a contingency in Tucson, so we can deal with our family and not deal with all the mundane stuff. So last year we purchased probably 15 homes at listing appointments because we have a convenience option on the table. So the difference is we can tell them what they get retail and show them the cost, but then we go through and say, hey, stress-free, this is what this looks like. So anybody wanting to go out and buy another house, it gives them that option to say, hey, I don't have to stress out about a double move. I don't have to stress out about somebody backing out of my contract. It's just an option we provide. Can we get top dollar for them? Absolutely, if that's the direction they want to go. So that's one source. We also have a lot of agents that don't know what to do with a listing. Last year we probably had 20 agents bring us a deal. We pay them their commission on it. They don't want to list it because it's not a great thing, or maybe they had a relative come to them and they've got just a mess hoarder house or something of that nature. They just call us and we come in and we make the offer with their client and give them the option and what it looks like, and it's the most convenient thing for them, then it works for them. And so we try to establish relationships with our agents as well, that, hey, if you have a contingency fallout and your buyer really wants the next house, but the sale just fell through, we can be that option. They're going to leave a little money on the table, but we can make it happen.
Yeah, and then they'll be able to get into the house that they
Correct.
want, and they're all emotional into it. So there is a lot of stress
Right.
that goes into the process.
So a lot of those are opportunities. We have random people call us. I got one this morning. A high school friend of mine called. He's like, "Hey, I've seen your videos. I know you guys buy stuff. My mother-in-law just had a house where the tenant just came out. She doesn't want to fix it. She doesn't need to. Can you buy it at this price? Let me go take a look at it. I'll let you know."
Sweet. So awesome. Where do you see the current state of the market? Because we know, like you mentioned, like these different, I think a lot of people want to focus so much on, these tech companies coming out and, they're taking away our business. But you got to think from a consumer standpoint, what makes a lot of sense for each person. They're not the right fit for every single person, but they have their their spot in the market. Where do you see the future of real estate, how things evolve, and the current state of real estate?
I definitely think you're going to see some shifts over the next couple of years. I think you're going to see shift in commission structures. I think you're going to see a shift in how things are done. Zillow coming out with their instant offers, some of the other pieces. Some people are threatened by the open doors and the offer pads. The reality is, if you look at the actual facts, they're only eating up about 1% of our market in a month period. It's not that big of a deal. Some of the wholesalers can eat some of that stuff up. Nobody would even notice it, though.
Right.
We see coming across our emails, probably 20 to 50 wholesale deals a month, where those are homes that were bought off market, just like the open doors and offer pads. So it's all over when it comes down to it. I think as far as our appreciation, I think that we're still bumping up. I don't think we're going to see any of the extreme. I think we're back to back in 2002, 2003, when we went to a listing appointment, we'd look at comps and go, well, 3 to 6% appreciation in the last year. This is where we come up with a number, and I think we're kind of there again. We're at a great inventory level where it's not too hot, not too cold, except for the lower price ranges. I was at a great mastermind group that's put on by Lawyers Title a couple weeks ago, and the temperature in that group of 25 top producers is, hey, there's nothing pointing to any crashes, any fails going forward. It may slow down, speed up, but we're looking at pretty steady over that next 3 to 5 years, unless obviously something catastrophic happens in the market when it comes down to the economy.
Right. So you talked a little bit about video marketing. People come across you with video. What kind of video marketing and videos do you currently do, and what impact has it had on your business? Because we know video is like a hot topic right now. You need to get into video.
Yep.
Video is like the next thing, or it is the thing right now.
Right.
I mean, if you're into it, but
getting into it, right?
Yeah. There's so few people actually doing anything about it, or actually trying to execute on it. But yeah, you're one that has taken video for your business purpose. So what impact has that had on your business?
I think it's one of those things that I've been so encouraged to do it. I hate doing it. It's like, you have to go take a shot of alcohol every time you want to do it. You're like, hey, need some liquid courage before I do it. It's funny, but one of the things that I want to try to do with every video that I put out, every Facebook post is an intentional, how do I provide value and how do I impact the audience? Some people are just putting such random stuff out there that you become white noise.
Sure.
You're swiped right past. So this morning I did a video. It was one of those ones. I'm running out of the house, take my kids to school. I'm like, I have to go do this. So I went and grabbed my cowboy hat, and I sat on the edge of the diving board, and I just told a quick story. My cowboy hat's actually what I wear at the pool when we go staycation somewhere. But it was about the impact you have on conversations with people, And so I encouraged everybody this morning to, every conversation you have an impact, have a value, and add positive to that person's life. And as long as you can walk away from that conversation knowing that, awesome. You're dinging the universe going, I just made somebody's life better. The video impact, it has actually made some impact on old friends, old people that I used to be friends with a couple weeks ago. It was awesome. I had a buddy of mine, my freshman year of high school, he was a sophomore. Jarrod literally beat the crap out of me my freshman year. New school, it just got my ass handed to me. Oh, I hope I can say ass, sorry. So what was crazy about it is over the years, before high school was over, we had become friends. We worked together at a hot air balloon company. But he and his wife just came in and had a wealth building appointment with me. They're not ready to invest yet, but they wanted to see what it was about and what it is. And so you start seeing those people come up because of the different videos. And it also amazes me too is, you ever watch Simon Sinek?
Yeah.
So he does the whole conversation about the dopamine on the likes and things like that, where it's
where he's talking about his millennial
right,
talk that kind
right,
of went viral.
Right. So you kind of look at that, and what people need to understand is your videos may not get a bunch of conversation or likes, but people are watching.
Sure.
Because when you go places and they're like, "Hey, I saw your last video. What are you doing?" It's becoming more and more that way. So it encourages me to do more of it. But I do think it goes back to video is definitely going in that direction, and I think that people need to not fear it, and they just need to go do it.
Well, I think a lot of people have these expectations like, I need a viral video, or I want millions of views, or it's nothing. You could put out a video that has 10 views in it, and one of those viewers is you really impacted that one person, so you can't get caught up on all the social engagement to get into it. And I think that's probably the hang up of a lot of people to do it. Like, they might put out a video, it only has 50 views, and then they're sad about it. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
but you,
right.
but you don't know. One of those people watching it,
right,
might turn into your next deal.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it actually, one of the ones that I did a video probably, I don't know, mid last year. We bought this house. It was an acre. It was an acre that it took 5 40-yard dumpsters to clear out the stuff they left behind. So I'm sitting there next to a dumpster, like just grabbing glass plates and throwing them all over the place. I'm like, we'll take your house no matter what it comes with. And so we were just making fun of it. Well, I got a call from a past client from 15 years ago. And he says, hey, actually it was a private message. He said, hey, my mom's house, she's a total hoarder. You got to go buy it. He's like, she keeps saying she wants to remodel it. She has cancer that's in remission, and she's got all this stuff, and she thinks she's gonna remodel. She's like, you just gotta go give her a solution. So we went out and we bought the house, and she's slowly cleaning up, getting her stuff out, and then I just told her, take what you want, leave the rest, we'll deal with it. Don't worry about it.
And then you show up with the 4 dumpsters.
Yeah, dumpsters. Yeah, make the neighbors mad. All that other stuff. But we love that solution ability and going through it. But yeah, the videos is definitely it's going in that direction without a doubt.
Yep, absolutely. And I guess, have you ever had I guess some people get nervous about investing in properties if you've, had, those deals that, I guess getting into your specific deals, what I'm trying to say is, have you ever had a deal that didn't turn out the way you wanted it and how you worked through it? I'm sure having a lot, like you buy a house and then it's the money pit. You walk through the door falls out.
No, that's it. I mean, that's most husband and wives, they fight about their kids, this, that, and the other. Our arguments usually come down to budgets and what went over and what didn't. We actually had one recently where you're like, ugh, could this get any worse? So yeah, we have them. I mean, there's no doubt. My wife went to renovate this house like 11th Avenue and Clarendon. She literally said, we're standing there talking to the contractor, and she leaned against the wall, and the stucco fell completely off one side of the house. It's like, just bam. You're like, okay, $6,000. And then, there was a plumbing problem with the collapsed sewer line. You're like,
goodness.
All right. So at the end of the day, but here's the thing. You go back to losing money and what we lost early on. It's a character and integrity thing. So our deal is doing what's right because it's right, and knowing that I never, ever, ever, I wouldn't want somebody to do it for me or my buyer, so I don't want a buyer's agent having that problem with his buyer, because I've experienced that where, you know what, we made it right, we lost 20 grand, it happened, but I know that I can sleep at night, and I know that buyer is not getting any covered up problems at the end of the day for me to make a profit. So, one of the beliefs I have, which is also a great book, is People Over Profit. It's a great book where if you can really put people ahead of time, ahead of the game, your profit will come. But you know what? When we flip houses or repurpose them, it's law of average. Some we make great money on, some we lose, but it's law of average.
So you didn't pick up the stucco and just staple it back?
Nope. Call the dumpster out.
Sounds like you're a dumpster specialist here, Steve.
Yeah, I gotta love dumpsters.
Awesome, man. Well, this has been very informational about investing and the current state of the market and how you see it. If somebody's interested in having you show up with dumpsters or sell
Provide
a
a
Hummer
solution.
or provide a solution, how do they get a hold of you, Steve?
Email steve@valentinegroupaz.com, or cell number is 602-769-3803.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on Real Estate Pros this afternoon. We appreciate your time and spending it with us, and we will see you guys on the next episode.
It was awesome. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah.